Morning people. I am about ready for the spring to kick in now. I've had enough of January. I don't want to wish time away because that is not a wise thing to do, is it? However, January is it's by far not the best month in the farming calendar, is it? So I'll be pleased to start seeing some longer days creeping in and some better weather whenever that does turn up. Could be a while yet, couldn't it? Anyway, I thought, whilst we're not up to too much pressing and it's wet, I'd have a little wander around and show you some of the stuff you haven't really seen before kit-wise. So some of the older kit, some of the old trucks, a few things that will be potentially coming up for sale at some point because I just haven't got around to sorting them out yet. Stuff that hasn't been used for a few years and it's just going to sit there, so I might as well sell it. And then, yeah, just a bit of all sorts really that you don't generally see. You only really see the mainline stuff that we use. So go around and have a little look at everything and give you a little bit of a rundown on what it was used for, where it came from and whatever else really. I reckon we should start with this beauty. The old Mapbro LS300. This I saved from Chettisham Silos. A lot of you will probably know where that is. It was their old machine. So it's basically sat there for a few years. When I was running the lorries, the lads were in and out of there and kept seeing it and said, "Oh, see if we can get hold of that because might be able to get it cheap." Just a cool old shovel. It'd be just be a handy tool to have as a little backup for loading and that sort of thing. And ended up getting it. Had to put a little bit of work into bringing it up to scratch. And Charlie, who used to work for me, he put a Q-fit carriage on it so we could use it with the JCB implements as well. It came with this toe tip bucket on it, which is a very odd shape bucket, but she has got us out a couple of muddles in the past, and it's a strong old thing, as you might imagine from a loader of this age. 6-cylinder John Deere diesel powering it. Yeah, it's been a good old shovel, to be honest. It got us out of a muddle a few times when we were on sugar beet. Used to hire a JCB telehandler in for doing the sugar beet haulage, and one year we had one and it just kept having problem after problem, had blue problems, this, that and the other. So ended up taking this down to a site down Holbeach Marsh. A couple of freezing cold frosty days I spent in that, but she didn't miss a beat. Put the toe tip beet bucket on it, and yeah, great tool. But that, I think I will put that up for sale because I've got an opportunity to buy a JCB equivalent locally, which will just be a very slightly more modern machine. And I think these old Mapbro shovels, they are quite collectible to the right person because you just don't see them about anymore. So yeah, we'll see about that, but that's my thinking at the minute. Then of course we've got the 3 lorries that are still here, which again really do need to be put up for sale. There's a 144 Scania and 2 164s. I've got someone interested in one of the 164s already, so when I get round to giving it a bit of a clean and sort out a day when we're both free, he's going to come and have a look at that. And then we've got the 144 here, which as you can see is in desperate need of a pressure wash because she's turning green, bless her. But that's a lovely old truck. Really solid chassis. Chassis on these old 4 Series are usually terrible and really tight to drive in the gears, and yeah, it's just a good old truck really. The only thing that lets it down a little bit is the white cab paint isn't the best, but it does clean up pretty nicely. Then in the corner here we've got probably one of the most well known of our trucks in the area, because this was one that my old man used to drive and it was the last one that he did drive. The old blue 164. Looking a little bit sorry for herself sat in the corner at the minute, but again, she's a good solid truck. Very, very tidy cab on it. They quite often start to rot at the back of the cab. That one's spot on. Will also be coming up for sale at some point when I get round to it, if I get round to it. And that one pulls like an absolute train. 164, 480, remapped to about 560 horsepower, and really did pull well. We've got this old Atlas 8-wheeler sprayer in here, which is an interesting little bit of kit. This has been sat in here for as long as I can remember, and I'm 35 years old, and I can't remember a time when it wasn't sat in here. I keep thinking, really need to just see if I can get it fired up, because it went in there running, and it should work. And then what do I do with it? I did put a little video on my TikTok about it a while ago, and a couple of people sounded half interested in it, but I do fear that if I get it started and running, I'm not going to want to let it go, am I? Because it'd make quite a cool toy. You could sort of take the spray gear off it and just have an 8-wheeler buggy, do something fun with it. And then we have, of course, got probably my favourite creation. This is the one. This was a second lorry I bought when I started running the lorries full time. Low cab 164 580. We custom built the twin stack exhaust system ourselves here. Did the paintwork and everything ourselves. Again, she's looking a bit tired, bless her, because she's been out of service for a couple of years now and just sat there. Needs a good wash, good polish, but there she is. This was the one Charlie used to drive and did all the low loader work. I bought that from Corners Transport, I think it was, up at Scotch Corner, and it was just, I think, grey chassis, white cab. Brought it back, stripped it down, had the chassis blasted and painted red, and then did the dark grey paintwork on the cab. Just did that in the shed here, got it stickered up, and yeah, we put, we must have put 400,000 or 500,000 kilometres on that, I think. That was a good old truck. And then we've still got these two old relics in here. A few of you will remember this one. She was quite a well-known truck around the Beat factory in her day. And now we're going back a few years. The old Bedford TM. Detroit supercharged 2-stroke V8 diesel in that. No idea what I'm going to do with the Bedford. That again has probably sat in that shed as long as that Atlas 8-wheeler sprayer buggy has sat in the other shed. But I'd love to see it done up. Obviously, to pay someone to do it would cost a small fortune. I've got a very good friend of mine who's quite interested in buying it off me to do up as a project himself, which I'd probably consider as an option, because if it did go somewhere, I'd like to see a good friend have it and see it done up somewhere that I could go and have a look at it, have a ride in it, but we'll see. And then the Foden sat next to it, that one's going to stay, because what I'd like to do with that, get that through a garage, get some jobs done to it, and then just use it at harvest time on the bulker trailer that was sat on the back of that 144. I think it would be a nice modern classic vehicle to have sat there for a bit of extra trailer capacity, and it wouldn't cost a lot to just have it usable, and it would be nice to see it out of the shed, wouldn't it? You're going to see some proper old relics now. Armour Salmon beak cleaner. Look at her, what a beauty. And 3 mid-80s right rein irrigators. You're probably thinking, why on earth have I still got all of those? I haven't really got a good answer for you, to be honest. Basically all of it's worth very little. when we changed from that Armour Salmon, that was when we first went to a CTM cleaner, and it was worth bugger all at the time, so just sat it there and thought, keep it as a spare in case the CTM breaks down. We can just pull that out and that'll do a job for a day to keep the lorries running, which did happen once or twice, so it did come in handy again. I mean, that will realistically get sold at some point because it's just taking up space now. We don't cart beat anymore, so it's absolutely pointless having it. And the 3 irrigators, or I have nightmares about those irrigators still. I think they were in service up until I think about 2018, 2019, and I replaced them with the 2 red Grimmies that we now run, which are fantastic. I mean, it wasn't going to take a lot to be better than those old right reins, because just with their age, it was an absolute miracle if they completed a pull overnight and hadn't stopped halfway down the field. Again, there was some logic to hanging on to them though, because we have used old reels in the past as pipeline to get water to the irrigators. So I sort of thought I'll hold on to them. Again, they're worth next to nothing. If we need to get irrigation to somewhere we don't usually get it to, and we haven't got enough pipes, we can just pull one of those out and just use it as a reel of pipeline. Put an end on the pipe to connect it up instead of the rain gun, and away you go. So that was the thinking behind that. Never have had to do that with them yet, and I think 3 things just sat there taking up more space. Be better off just selling them for the little amount of money they are worth, and if I ever needed the extra pipeline, just rent it in. So that's why they're all still sat there. That then brings us to a few bits at the other farmyard. Now this old girl here, this old girl has got a little spot in my heart because my old man built it in the workshop. It's basically a McConnell shakerator on steroids. So it was based on the fact that we had a McConnell shakerator at the time, good little cultivator, and wanted something bigger to put behind the John Deere. So this is what we ended up with. About 4.5 metres wide. Obviously got the McConnell shakerator tines on it. And it was affectionately known on the farm as the belly buster. Hasn't been used for only a couple of years, because basically what we used to do with that we now do with the Sumo, which has got the discs on it and what have you as well. But it would always come out on the T8 when we were doing sugar beet and potato planting, just have it on to pull up headlands really and that sort of thing. And also we'd cultivate after potatoes with it if it was nice and dry. That was a perfect tool. Just whip through with a tine and left a lovely finish to drill straight into. Then we've got a couple of old beauties tucked away in here. David Brown 996. Now this still comes out, I'd say most years, for a couple of little odd jobs. At the minute it's got this topper on the back. And the reason for that, I actually used that as a bit of a make it out of what you've got weed beet topper. So I had it wasn't actually weed beet I was topping, it was just a bit of rubbish in a field where there was a sort of a low patch in the field in some real light soil where you always have a trouble with weeds, and that fit nicely across 6 rows, so I used it as a little 6-row topper instead of hiring in a weed surfer. Her usual job though in recent years has been on a weed wiper. Good little tractor for that, nice and light, skinny wheels, and it's not really worth selling, is it, like the other things, because they're not worth anything really, and it's there when you want it. It's always nice to keep hold of some of the little old classics as well, just little old yard tractors. We've got that 996. We've got another one round the back. I'll show you a little Case Hydro 84. And also in this shed while we're here, we've got this beauty. The 951C Caterpillar Drott with the old, is it a 3-in-1 or a 4-in-1 bucket? I can't remember. What have you got? You got a grab, bucket, bulldozer. Yeah, I guess you'd call it a 3-in-1. But this interesting little story behind this one, really. Just randomly picked it up from a Facebook marketplace ad. That was when we had both the lads here with the lorries, and we'd fill in when we were a bit quiet with haulage work with whatever random stuff we could, really. And sometimes that was buying stuff to do up in the workshop, and this was one of them. So this old thing, the only thing that needs doing to it now actually is there's a pipe in there somewhere, rubber radiator hose that just needs replacing because it's got a tiny little leak in it. When it gets warm it starts to drip coolant out. But other than that, she's good to go. And we bought it fire damaged, but not serious fire damage, because I mean there's obviously not a lot to burn on these, but all the wiring loom basically sort of under here and through up into the dashboard, that was burnt out. And it also had a rather corroded head on it. I don't remember if it was corroded or cracked, one of the two, but anyway, we had a word with the old boys at Fenland Tractors over near Crowland Way, and they sorted us out a new head for it and a new wiring loom, and we got her in the workshop and got her sorted. My plan is when it dries up round here where we've loaded the sugar beet last, I'm going to get it out and have a little play with it and push this heap of soil out onto the field so it can stretch its legs a little bit. This old Hiab trailer around here as well. This has been on the farm an awful long while. I remember that being on the Foden and going up to King's Lynn with my old man to go and pick some steel up. Actually got a drawing in the house. I think when it was being loaded and I was a kid, I sat outside and drew a picture of that on the Foden, and it is in the house in the cupboard somewhere with Tom Bell aged 9 on it or something like that. But yeah, that did used to be on the road, and again just sort of kept hold of it thinking it would potentially make a good seed trailer if we needed it, but with the 2 flat trailers we've got now, probably not really ever going to need it. But did think we could plumb it in. It runs off a donkey engine at the minute, like most of them do. Did think we could plumb it in so that it could be plugged into the hydraulics of a tractor, and if you needed to use that, if the telehandler wasn't available, you had that as an option. But I don't think that's something we'll ever need to do now. And then we've got the little old Hydro 84. She's currently sat on the flail, little grass flail. That used to be our hedge cutter tractor. It had a little Bomford mounted hedge cutter on it, and then we ended up upgrading to the spearhead we've got now, which is just a 3-point linkage one, so we can drop it on and off. And yeah, it's just stayed little odd jobs machine since then. So that little verge cutter on it, and what did we have? I had a little six row front mounted L-hoe beat hoe on it as well. That was a nice light little setup, but we've now since upgraded to a 12 row front mounted beat hoe, so obviously a lot quicker with that. And one you won't have seen too much of, which was still in fairly regular use, is this old girl, the old Ford 6810. Now she's currently tucked up away in the back of this shed with the 1394 that you would have seen during potato harvest on the muck trailer. And the 6810 would have been doing the muck trailer duties, apart from the fact that just over a year ago or so, wrong side, I'll go around this side, power steering pump there started playing up, and I've got a new seal kit for it to try before I bite the bullet and buy a new one. As you can imagine, they're not cheap, and hopefully that'll sort it out. But yeah, other than that, she was just doing odd jobs. She used to have her on the yellow Gull trailer, the 10-tonner, for opening out in spuds, and then the 8340 took that job. So yeah, this is one that I certainly won't be getting rid of, because who doesn't love an old 10 series Ford? So if anything happens to that, it will just be a tidy up and a polish, and a little bit of a light going over, because it's a cool old tractor, one that we've had on the farm since brand new, so I don't want to see her go anywhere. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that tour of some of the old relics around the farm. As I said, some of them will be coming up for sale at some point, but if you know anyone who you think might be interested in any of those items, do point them in my direction. Anyway, I'll leave that with you. I'll catch you on the next one. Do give us a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying the videos. We're slowly creeping up the 1,000 subscribers. It's getting close, it's in sight.